Today's episode of Ask Nico. How can one set the right boundaries both in business and in relationship? What is the question one should ask him or herself to get clear on which the boundaries should be? And what's the best way to set them? In business, I mean with business partners and clients. Alright, so first thing is this. Boundaries are not walls that we create or shields to protect ourselves from others. They are in fact doors, which means it's not a way of dismissing another person, but a way of showing them, hey, this is where the door is. This is how you navigate your relationship, your connection with me. So I cannot tell you what boundaries to apply because my life is different from yours. The place where the door is in my home may not be the one in which you need it to be in yours. So let's start with that. How do you know what boundaries? Well, a good place to start is know where does it hurt? Where do you feel they're being violated? Where do you feel taken advantage of or resentful towards somebody? Ask yourself this question. If you know who you resent or where you felt taken advantage of, that's going to point you to a place in which a boundary is lacking. So start there. Now, how do you establish boundary in a conscious way? The first thing is understanding that, or learning that you can say no without closing your heart. You don't have to be like my way or the highway. You don't have to be someone who's very dismissive in the way in which he or she communicates. You can lovingly say no to someone, and this is the most difficult thing to do for a lot of us, because when we were told no as children, it was often with violence or with a disconnection. Love was withdrawn from you, from us, when a no was given, and therefore we experienced rejection. A no was rarely met with a hug, with empathy, with compassion, with curiosity. So the first thing for you is, at the base level, can you remain open as you're about to set your boundary? Can you keep your heart open? Can you not kick them out of your heart as you're about to express to them the right way of communicating with you? Okay, number one. Number two, you want to be specific and clear. What I mean by this is, hey, when we agreed on doing this work and you said you were going to have things ready by today and you didn't have them ready, I felt lack of trust and I felt afraid that this partnership is not going to work. And I would like for this not to happen again, and next time for you to give me a deadline that you can honor, or as soon as you know that you want to be able to honor it, to communicate with me, for example. I'll give you another example. In a relationship, hey, I notice that when I talk to you, you're checking your phone, and in that moment I feel angry because I feel that you don't care about what I'm sharing, and I want to have a relationship where I feel seen, and it's painful to not feel that way right now. So I would love that when we're talking and when I'm sharing something with you, I would love for the two of us to leave our phones aside, and that if there's something really important that you need to do, that you communicate it with me so that we can make time apart for our connection. If you pay attention, there's different ways of saying this. The way that most people go to in the first example is, you fucked up, this is late, I can't work with you, I'm gonna fire you, or I'm gonna quit, right? Tension, drama, blame me. And the second example about the relationship is like, you never pay attention to me, or passive aggressive, you just close your eyes, cross your arms, and then get all bitchy. Or there's ways in which we react with an ugly energy to others when boundaries are crossed. So the second step is communicating in a healthy way, and communicating a healthy boundary has two elements in it. It has specific feedback. It's not general. It's like, when you do this, this is what happens. You're letting people know the impact of their actions. It's not, I don't feel you love me. That's not a boundary, or I want you to love me better. No, like, be specific. What does being in a good relationship with you, what do you need for this relationship to work? Because people, most of the time, your business partner, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, they want to be in a good relationship with you. And if you don't tell them how, it's going to be more challenging. So always assume that the way they're acting, not out of evil, or not out of wanting to hurt you, but out of ignorance. Always assume ignorance before you assume ill intentions. From that point, you can understand, okay, I'm going to communicate with this person clearly. So number 1, be specific. Number 2, never just tell someone what they did wrong without an invitation around what doing it right looks like. So number 2, be very, very precise. Hey, this was something that I didn't like, something that made me feel this way, and this is what I would like from you. And be very specific in that. Otherwise, it's just a complaint. Maybe a well-worded one, but it's just a complaint. So acknowledge what happened, but above all, invite. What do you want instead? What kind of communication? What do you require from this person? Offer a solution. Never mention a problem to anyone without offering a solution. And then number 3, and maybe the most important and most overlooked one, is a boundary without a consequence is a vague hope. If you set a boundary and the person crosses it again and nothing happens, it was not a boundary, it was a hope. So be clear inside of you. And I've done this in the past. I've talked with people and I've said, hey, I did not appreciate this. The next time this happens, I'm going to have to reconsider our friendship or whatever. And when it happened, I honored myself and the other person by doing what I said I would do. And that doesn't mean that you have to threaten people. No, but inside you can know that if this person continues acting this way, you cannot trust them to do business together. Or if he or she continues being this way, it's just too much drama in your relationship. And then you can let them go. You can say, hey, listen, I mentioned this before, we had this agreement and I realized that for you it's hard to honor this. And I understand, no judgment, but it's not the kind of relationship that I want. And let's leave it at that. You can be very practical, very respectful. Let people know how you feel. It doesn't have to be an argument. It doesn't have to be this anxious-inducing thing. Setting a boundary is just telling somebody, hey, no. Like you're walking down the street and someone tells you, hey, do you want to support the starving children in whatever? The moment you can say yes, or you can say no, thank you, and that's it. That's a boundary. You don't hate them. They don't hate you. They're not bad people. You're not a good person either because you said no or yes, whatever. It's just your preference. Do you want vanilla ice cream? Do you want chocolate ice cream? Ultimately, you want to develop that relationship with your yes and with your no. You want to feel at peace saying yes to somebody and at peace saying no to somebody without closing your heart. So let's wrap it up. Your boundaries have to be defined by you. What questions can you ask yourself? Start with where it hurts. Where are you resentful? When did you feel taken advantage of? Those are places where boundaries are lacking. Then be specific in your feedback, in your boundary. Never do it or never say what you dislike without inviting the other into a solution, into a better way of doing things, because people want to win with you and you want to make it as easy as possible for them to win with you. And finally, if this is something that gets crossed repeatedly, understand that if your boundary has no consequences, when people cross it, it's just a hope. And if you teach someone that your boundaries have no weight, they're good for nothing. It's playing cry wolf. You understand that, okay, this person is never going to act on any of the things that they say are important to them. So the best thing for a relationship is that you honor your boundaries, and that when someone crosses them, there's a consequence. The consequence may be a different conversation needs to be had. The consequence can be that you leave the relationship. There's many things that are possible. I'm not saying you have to break up the moment that something doesn't work, or that you have to dismiss your business partners the moment that someone is late or something like that. No. But it has to be clear that it's important for you and that it will not go unnoticed. That you won't play pretend being a nice person and accommodate everybody at your expense. Never ever bend over backwards for other people thinking that you're being nice, because it's disgusting. At the end of it, you're going to resent them and resent yourself, and everybody loses. So remember, boundaries are healthy. You're showing somebody where the door is. You're not putting up walls. You're also inviting people to know how to win with you and to make it easy for them. This is it. I hope this was useful. It was a bit of a long one, but I think this is very important. If you have questions, I created this link where you can ask me anything you want anonymously, and I'll be picking a few of these through the week. to create content that is relevant to you. Okay, so talk soon.